Today, I'm going to be talking about some really weird events in history that you wouldn't think really happened, but they really did happen. All of these are true. The first one I'm going to talk about. The US flag was designed by a 17-year-old student. Have you ever heard of Robert G. Heth? Well, I hadn't either until today, but he designed the US flag in 1958. Believe it or not, Robert created the most famous flag design in the whole world. He did this as part of a school project when he anticipated Alaska and Hawaii joining the United States. Ironically, he only got a B- for this assignment. His teacher said he added too many stars and told Robert off for not knowing how many states there were. But Robert was not discouraged by his teacher's reaction. Robert sent his design to the White House and it was chosen for more than 1,500 to be the winner. Hilariously, after this, his teacher changed his grade to an A. The next one is China used more cement in the previous 3 years than the US did in the entire previous century. Bill Gates once tweeted about this, but nobody really took him seriously. However, due to estimates from the US Geological Survey, Mr. Gates was being serious. Between the years 1901 and 2000, the US used 4.5 gigatons of cement. In comparison to this, China used 6.6 gigatons of cement between 2011 and 2013. Bill Gates was definitely telling the truth. The next one is Abraham Lincoln was actually an exceptional wrestler. Even though he's widely known as one of the greatest presidents in American history, President Abraham Lincoln could have also been a WWE star. Before he became president, Abraham Lincoln was a champion wrestler and took part in around 300 matches. He had a reputation for being a very tough fighter. Keep in mind that Abe was 6'4" tall and weighed around 225 pounds in his prime day. In other words, a formidable wrestler. The Pope once declared war on cats. Even though there's not an official historical source verifying this, we will assume the Pope Gregory IV must have been a real dog person. The Pope once claimed that black cats were an instrument of Satan and ordered that they should be exterminated throughout Europe. Ironically, the dramatic reduction in cat population in the 13th century was one of the factors that led to a spike in plague-carrying rats, leading to the Black Plague. The next obscure part of true history is Tesla was afraid or scared of pearls. Nikola Tesla, without any shadow of a doubt, was one of the greatest minds to ever walk this earth. But as a man, Tesla had some really weird phobias. One of his weird phobias was he could not stand the sight of pearls. This was so bad that he refused to speak to women who were wearing them. On one occasion, his secretary ended up wearing pearl jewellery and he sent her home for the day. No one is sure where this weird phobia came from, but it sure is interesting. The next one is British men sold their wives. Wife selling was a real thing in England between the 17th and 19th centuries. It was really expensive to get a divorce back then. So often, lower class British people could not afford them. To combat this problem, they instead sold their wives. This custom may seem crazy today, but it could be found in common places such as markets, taverns, or even fairs. The Romans used human urine as a mouthwash, and this was true. This crazy fact may sound like fake news and not to mention disgusting, but the Romans did indeed used to buy bottles of Portuguese urine and use it as a mouthwash. The reason for this is because it was thought the ammonia in urine could disinfect mouths and whiten teeth. What's even crazier is urine remained a popular mouthwash ingredient in many parts of Europe until the 18th century. The next one, Harriet the Tortoise met Charles Darwin. In fact, Harriet didn't just meet Charles Darwin, she was his pet. The famous scientist and theorist passed away in 1882, but nearly 50 years before that, he collected Harriet from the Galapagos Islands. Charles dropped off the tortoise in Australia, where she lived to be a staggering 175 years old. Harriet didn't pass away until 2006. The next one, Ronald Reagan saved 77 people from drowning. President Reagan reigned as an actor and president way before Baywatch was even a thing. It turns out though that the former president could have easily have grabbed a role on the famous TV show. Before he even pursued an acting career, Reagan worked 6 summers as a lifeguard in Lowell Park in Dixon, working on the treacherous Rock River. According to newspaper reports of the time, he saved 77 people from drowning throughout the 6 summers that he worked there. The final one is Charlie Chaplin passed away as Apple was founded. When thinking of Charlie Chaplin, you might think you need to take a huge step back in time. However, that is not really the case. The actor passed away in 1977, and that is the same year as Apple was founded. The most mind-blowing part of it all was the difference in eras. Charlie Chaplin came from a world of black and white, silent movies, whereas Apple was about to change the world with its breakthrough technology designs. So that was 10 facts from history that you wouldn't believe to be true. Have a good evening. New videos coming out tomorrow, or new videos coming out every single day. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you soon.